Welcome back, or if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to this episode of the Digital Studio of the Edge Summit 2024. And this time we are going to talk about the new role of the marketer and the merchandiser with regards to AI. I'm here joined by Erin Roy, former Chief Marketing Officer of Gordon Ramsay. So thank you very much that you took your time to join me today here at this short conversation. I think, the role of the marketer and the merchandiser, maybe there's also some little bit of uncertainty around these people. What is my job going to look like in the future? What is the whole thing going to shape? So how can you, from your responsibilities and your former experiences, how has AI already until now shaped the role of the marketer and the merchandiser, and how is this going to change in the future? What is your take on this topic?
I think the opportunities are exponential in marketing and AI. I think a lot of people sort of have started the process, like any great change, with a little bit of skepticism and some fear. I think what's happened so far is if you look at performance marketing channels such as paid search, even paid social, what AI has already achieved is exponential. AI has completely changed portfolio bidding and how that's all happened. I think the opportunities of the future are endless. I think what's really important in any sort of great change is to shape and shepherd your culture, to encourage all your people to be super, super curious, to be open to the change. And then there's lots of tactics you can use to take AI and planning forward.
So let's break this down a little bit. There are a couple of takes there. So the first thing about the merchandiser and the marketeer themselves. So how do you think, just that you said that it has already changed their life and so forth, how is the job of a marketeer looking like, of a performance marketeer in this case, looking like in 5 years from now? Is it still the same like 5 years ago, or is it going to?
No, it's going to be super different, particularly if you're a performance marketeer. So if I take, for example, when I started using AI in a meaningful way in, say, 2015 in search marketing, the role of that marketeer who would run those campaigns and that marketeer today, nearly 10 years on, is hugely different. So I wouldn't be able to hazard a guess as to next 5 years. I would say the AI capability will be even more forensic. I would say that there will be a number of tools that we don't even know about at their inception. I would say it will be really, really challenging. I would say businesses and leadership teams would be much more on board, and there'd be less having to prove and more showing the return of investment. But I would say that role is really excitingly unknown at the moment. It will still need great mathematical skill, scientific skill, intelligence. It will need lots of insight. But as ever with anything in marketing, it will always need a human element, and it will always need instinct.
Yeah, I think marketing was always the interesting part, isn't it? There's a scientific part to marketing, and there is this emotional part of marketing. And bringing these two things together is, I think, the best amalgamation when it comes, or the best recipe for being successful in this area.
Completely. I always think a great marketeer, the greatest in fact, they marry logic and magic really beautifully. There's a time to let the machine learning take over and take control and let it do its thing. And then there's a time for that human contact, that eye, that instinct, that I'm yet to see AI be able to replicate that. And that's where I would encourage marketeers to be confident, be courageous, and be really excited about the future.
The best run starships are always from the magical Captain Kirk and from the logical Mr. Spock. So basically, these two things together make a nice combination. And the other thing still about the job of a marketer. So when I look back, I started my career in 2000 in IT. There was, for instance, the job of the social media marketer. This didn't exist yet because social media didn't exist yet. So maybe also here, maybe a couple of very interesting opportunities in the next couple of years. Maybe in 10 years, we will talk about a job description we can't even envision today.
Absolutely.
Maybe also, you heard in the keynote about the air traffic controller.
Yeah.
So maybe we are talking about the marketing traffic controller in the
Exactly. And I think always wanting to sound and think like a future-facing person and being progressive is really important to me and the teams I've worked with over the years. But it's difficult to imagine for many junior people who I work with. 20 years ago, when I started out, as you quite rightly say, lots of platforms, lots of channels, without, quoting, didn't exist. You barely had more than 4 terrestrial channels in the UK, maybe 5 if you were lucky. Now the sky's the limit. And I think embracing that, Instagram Reels didn't exist 3 years ago. Let's push forward, let's go for it, and let's know there's going to be skills that we aren't even aware of yet, and let's not be afraid of that. Courage is key.
True, absolutely. So, but let's go a little bit more to the practical usage of the whole thing. So, AI, it's not something that just came around the corner 2 years ago. It's already a little bit longer in the market, and let's face it, marketers have used it for decades, even also recommendation models, propensities, and stuff like that. So, what were the challenges? So, from your experience, what were the challenges in implementing these AI capabilities in organizations, and how did you overcome these challenges? I mean, from technical, but also maybe cultural things. Can you maybe give us an insight into this
I think
topic?
when I really started to use AI in a meaningful way was about 10 years ago.
Okay.
I was working for a PLC at the time, very big and heavy board structures, and also a culpability to the city, right? So as marketeers and digital experts, we were embracing all of this, but you have to sell that into your board. You have to sell that into your shareholder. And that was the biggest challenge. I was lucky enough to be working with very progressive leaders, but I always think when you're a marketeer, nailing your pitch to your CFO is a really good trick to learn and to foster and to take forward. So what we did is we started small. We had small case studies, we had small examples. When it came to paid search, for example, we had a group of keywords that we really optimized machine learning for. We presented those, we proved the return on investment, we proved the vastly increased ROI when it came to AI and unlocking its power. We presented it to the board, we got buy-in, and then we scaled. At first we scaled slowly, then we scaled more quickly, and then it became the way we worked. And that's all within a matter of 12 months, and that's 10 years ago. So I'm super proud of the team and how we made that happen. But I could give you a handful of examples like that for AI at each and every business. So to answer your question, I think a key barrier is fear. A key barrier is also just a lack of understanding, not because we're not working with hugely intelligent people, but because it's new. It's uncertain. It sounds really complicated, and this is where I would urge caution in the best possible way, because caution's not a particular familiar term to me, but I would just say really trust your expertise as marketeers, get learning, really make yourself the expert, and then prove it slowly but surely, because then you can go at lightning speed and get everything to, I guess, be able to be conveyed in a language that your audience can understand. So whether it's your CFO, your CEO, your shareholder, or just an investor, if you're trying to scale a startup, speak in their language. That's the best way to take your ideas forward.
Interesting. So pitching to a CFO is always one of the most interesting things you can do in business life, I see, when I look back into this area as well. But let's shift gears here for one moment, and coming back really to, besides the strategic elements, to the tactical elements. So as a marketer, as a merchandiser, how does AI actually influence my decision making? How has it influenced my decision making, and how do you think will it influence the decision making in the future, especially when it comes down to targeting and personalization? Sure. What do you think about that?
So I think if we look at predictive AI first, I think that's the AI that's probably easier for people to understand, right? That's the AI for me that influences all areas of performance marketing in the mix and that most elements of CRM. So in terms of that element, I think what the AI can unlock and has unlocked for me at many businesses is, a superhuman power to power through and disseminate millions upon millions of pieces of data that would take a human being several lifetimes. So for me, there's just that vast power, that velocity and that speed. And then if you have created the right tool and asked the right questions, you can get outputs and learnings in minutes or seconds that would previously have taken months and years. So that's really, really important. If we look more at, I guess, the more creative side of AI, and the more generative side, I think with that's a bit more unknown. And I think that's the area that most brands are really trying to explore now. So I think with all of that, that's really about using AI with caution. We've all seen really bad examples of creative AI. We've all seen the brands who wanted to join the party probably before they were ready and probably before they had the expertise. And this is where I say, trust yourself, trust your talent, trust your people, and let them work with the AI capability to unlock that generative AI. And then when you use it wisely, use it because it's the right thing, not because it's tokenistic, and then see what it can create. I would always ask my teams why, the work always wins, right? So nothing is bigger than the work. People, tech, partners, make sure you can create the best possible piece of work. And if that means using AI, and increasingly there will be lots of ways it will, then you've got to go for that. And always have a really good conscience about what you're delivering and ensure that you are creating the best possible piece of work. You almost need to be indiscriminate to the ways in which you got there because you just want to produce something that really is spectacular and superlative.
But that's exactly the interesting point, that I would say AI until 2 years ago was very much on the scientific side of marketing. And now due to Gen AI, it becomes also it gets into the realm of also the creative side of marketing.
Yes.
And this is going to be very interesting with hallucinations and so forth.
Sure.
We have to be very, very careful. But I want to end with one thing, one very, very small thing you just said, but I think it's spot on. Asking the right question. Do you think that this is going to be one of the new, let's say, attributes of the new traits somebody has to have to ask the right questions to an AI? The AI can do a lot, but asking the right question. Can you maybe elaborate on the asking the right question shortly in a couple of sentences? Sure.
Well, I would say curiosity is possibly the best skill a marketeer can have. So asking the right question of ourselves, of our customers, of our audience, I don't think marketers do that enough, and I would encourage people to do that more. So yes, I think that asking the right question could be key. We saw some tools this morning and some, next level of AI, which was already asking marketers questions that when they're in the throes of, sending out an email, they might forget. So that really struck a chord with me. So absolutely, I think asking the right question will be key. I think the AI will do that, but I would encourage each and every marketer and digital person to always ask questions, never stop, and be relentless with that.
Erin, I would love to ask you a couple of further questions, but unfortunately we are at time. Thank you very much that you took your time to give us your insights with your breadth of experiences. So this brings me to the conclusion of today's session. Asking the right questions may be going to be one of the most important things we have to do in the future. So I hope you stay on our channel. Tune in to the next episode. See you soon. Thank you.